So now it's time for us to explore Visual Studio Code and use Visual Studio Code to write our Java program. Right, so this is the starting page of Visual Studio Code. Okay, just a quick reminder about Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is not an IDE, it is actually more to an editor. But what happens is that Visual Studio Code have the ability for you to add on library based on the language that you want to write. So that's allow Visual Studio Code to support multiple languages. Right, so in this case we are going to write Java program. So we need to install a few extension. Okay, in Visual Studio Code, external library is called extension. So this extension will be able to support us when we want to write our Java program. Right, now let's start. First, you need to open the folder of your root Java program. So in this case, just click the icon over here. As you can see here, there are a few icons on the left hand side. Click the Explorer icon, open folder. Right, so go back to the folder or the root folder of your Java program. So in my case, it will be desktop Java. Select folder. Right, so right now my Java folder is empty. This is normal. When you want to write Visual Studio Code for the first time, it will ask you whether you want to trust or you do not want to trust the author and also the machine. So in this case, trust the author. Right, so now my Java, if you can see here, my root folder is empty. Okay, my root folder is empty. So we want to create our first Java program. So all you need to do now, so right now our Visual Studio Code is already point to the root folder Java. So we want to add a new Java code. So all you need to do, just click the new file button here, or you can go to file, new file. Okay, but just make it simple. Click the new file button. Okay, besides the name of the folder. Okay, let's say I'm going to name my file as mycode.java. Make sure you write .java. Okay, so that Visual Studio Code can understand what program language that you are working with. Right, press enter. Right, so automatically you can see here Visual Studio Code will propose for you to install external library. Okay, external library related to Java. So in my case, I'm just going to press install because right now my Visual Studio Code is empty. Right, so since I want to run a Java program, I need to install the extension. Okay, so I'm just going to install. So what happens is that it will go to extension. So if you go to the right hand side menu, go to the bottom, you can see here extension. Right, you can see here extension. Actually, you can search for any extension that you want. So in my case, Visual Studio Code already proposed for me to install an extension pack. Extension pack means that it is a combination of multiple extension. So in this case we have, right, so in this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 extensions. So 6 extension will be installed for me. Alright, so installation done. So you can see here installation is done. Alright, so get started. Dive into Java development. Your first step to set up a powerful Java tool in a lightweight performance editor. So this is optional, up to you. Either you want to do this or not. Okay, get your Java runtime ready. Okay, get your Java runtime ready. You can configure your Java runtime. Right, so you can choose either you want to use okay, in this case they ask you to install a JDK. Right, so since we already have a JDK, so we don't have to install our JDK because we already have our JDK. Right, so JDK 17. See, as you can see here, JDK 17. Right, so everything is already identified, so you don't have to install. Right, you don't have to install. Okay, so step number 1 done, and then you can just take all these steps because these are just optional steps. Right, these are just optional step. Right, so nothing much. Okay, I'm just going to say mark done. Okay, now back to our program. Okay, so now click mycode.java. Okay, you can close all this. Okay, now it's time to write our Java program. So I'm going to start with public Okay, let me make it bigger. Okay, I'm going to start with, okay, let me close this. Right, public public class. Okay, remember the name of the class and the name of the physical class must be the same. So my code, right? And then I'm going to say public static void main, public static void main. Okay, string args. Okay, right. Remember the shortcut in NetBeans PSVM. So in Visual Studio, after we install all the extension, there is actually a shortcut for public void main. All you need to do, just type main and then press tab. So you get your public static void main. Right. So now our it's time to write our output. So system dot out, okay, system dot out dot print line. Okay, so welcome to Java. Okay, code is done, everything looks good. Now time to run our program. So all you need to do, just click this run button on the right hand side. Okay, click the run button. You can see debug Java, or you can say run Java. So I'm going to start with run Java. So it will debug and then it will run. Okay, choose allow access. Alright, allow access. Okay, so it will open a terminal. So you can see here, welcome to Java. So if you want to put this side by side, just right click the panel and choose move panel to the right. So usually I prefer to do this. Okay, I prefer to do this. If you want to run the code again, you can either press the run Java button, or you can use the console and type it manually. Okay, for example, like you can say java, right, my code.java, right, and then Java my code. Okay, you will get the same result. So if you press the run Java button, then you will get this whole lengthy information and then the output at the bottom. Right, you can just clear the screen, CLS, and then Java my code. Okay, you will get the same result. Okay, another tips for using Java, say for using NetBeans. Okay, for system.out.println, you can say sysout and then enter. Okay, so you don't have to type it one by one. So it will save a lot of time, and also it will make your code easier. Right, I think that's all for NetBeans. Hope to see you in the next video. Okay.